You're rolling to a call, loaded, doing 55, and a light turns red up ahead. Your foot moves to the brake. Here's the question that decides what happens next. How much road do you need to bring this thing to a stop? The honest answer will rattle you the first time you hear it. At 55 miles per hour, a loaded rig needs about 419 feet to stop. That is more than the length of a football field, end zone to end zone, of road you do not get back. Speed management and stopping distance. Two of the most important things you will ever understand about driving something this heavy. Let's break down the physics you can feel through the seat. Stopping is not one thing. It is three stacked back to back, and every one of them eats road. Perception, reaction, and braking. Add them up and you get your total stopping distance. First, perception distance. That is the road you cover from the instant a hazard enters your sight to the instant your brain registers it as a threat. For an alert driver, that takes about 3/4 of a second, and at 55, that is roughly 60 feet gone before you have even reacted. Second, reaction distance. Now the message has landed. This is the road you cover while your brain sends the order and your foot actually moves to the brake. Another 3/4 of a second, another 60 feet at 55, and you still have not slowed down at all. Third, braking distance. The road you cover after the brakes finally grab until the rig is stopped. This is the big one. A heavy vehicle at 55 on dry pavement needs somewhere between 216 and 290 feet just to brake. Stack all three together, and at 55 miles per hour, you are looking at about 419 feet. More than a football field. Burn that picture in. You cannot stop on a dime, and anyone who drives like they can is going to hurt somebody. Two more numbers worth carrying, because they get asked straight out. Average driver reaction time is 3/4 of a second up to a full second, and 419 feet is the figure at 55. At 45 miles per hour, total stopping distance is about 346 feet, 10 miles an hour slower, and it is still longer than a football field. One more piece: if your apparatus runs air brakes, air is not instant. It takes about half a second to travel through the lines before the brakes even start to work. That brake lag adds roughly 32 more feet at 55 on top of everything else. Air brakes are strong, but they are slow to start. Now here is the part that fools people. Speed and stopping distance are not a straight line. Double your speed, and your braking distance does not double, it roughly quadruples. Go from 30 to 60 miles per hour, and you need about 4 times the road to stop, with about 4 times the force in the crash. And weight does not work the way your gut says either. You would think an empty truck stops shorter. Often it is the opposite. Brakes and tires are built to grip under a load. Take the load off and there is less weight pressing the tires into the road, less traction, wheels that lock up easier, and an empty rig that can take longer to stop than a loaded one. Everything so far assumed dry pavement. Change the surface and you change the math. The rule is simple, and it is unforgiving. You can only drive as fast as your traction allows. A slick road multiplies every one of those distances and invites a skid. So back off the speed to match what is under your tires. On a wet road, take about a third off. 55 becomes about 35. On packed snow, cut your speed in half or more. And on ice, slow to a crawl and get off the road as soon as you safely can. Some ice hunts for you in specific places. Shaded spots stay frozen long after the rest of the road has dried. Bridges and overpasses freeze before the road does, especially anywhere near 32 degrees. And here is a trick worth knowing. When it is near freezing and the road looks wet, reach out and feel the front of your outside mirror. Ice on the mirror means ice on the road. Two kinds of ice will lie to you. Black ice is a thin, clear layer that looks exactly like a harmless wet road. You often cannot see it at all. And melting ice, right around freezing, is actually more slippery than solid cold ice. So a warm spell does not make ice safe. Wet ice is the worst of both. And know the single most dangerous moment on a wet road: the first few minutes after the rain starts. Oil and grease build up on the pavement between rains, and when the first water hits, it floats that oil up into a greasy film. The road is at its most slippery right then, before the rain has had time to wash it clean. Enough water on the road or slush, and you get hydroplaning. The tires climb up on top of the water like water skis and lose contact with the pavement completely. It can start at speeds as low as 30 miles per hour, and it gets worse fast with low tire pressure or worn-down tread. If it happens, do not fight it. Ease off the accelerator and push in the clutch, so the wheels slow down and turn freely on their own. Do not hit the brakes and do not try to steer through it. Either one can throw you into a skid the second the tires bite again. Off the gas, clutch in, hands steady, and wait for the tires to find the road. Curves. Take one too fast in a heavy vehicle, and you will either skid off the road or roll it over. The height and the weight are working against you, so slow to a safe speed before you enter the curve. Because braking in the middle of a curve is how you break traction and lose it. Never beat the posted advisory speed. Then accelerate gently through the curve to keep the rig planted. Next rule, and it governs your speed at night and in fog. You must always be able to stop inside the distance you can actually see. At night on low beams, you can see about 250 feet. If your stopping distance is longer than that, you are driving blind into road you cannot stop for. That is overdriving your headlights, and you slow down until the two numbers match. Last one, and it is about fitting in. In heavy traffic, the safest speed is the speed everyone else is doing, right up to the limit. Vehicles all moving the same direction at the same speed almost never hit each other. Weaving faster to save a minute just stacks the odds against you for almost nothing. Lock these in before your test. Everything in one screen. Stopping distance is 3 parts: perception, reaction, and braking. About 419 feet at 55. Double your speed and the braking distance roughly quadruples. An empty truck can take longer to stop, not shorter. Match your speed to the surface. A third off for wet, half for snow, a crawl for ice, and if you hydroplane, get off the gas, never the brake. This is the Georgia Class F course, developed by Georgia firefighters for the ones coming up behind them. If it is helping, like the video and subscribe so the whole course stays in front of you. There is a full practice test linked below whenever you are ready. Now go easy on the throttle, leave yourself room, and bring the rig home safe.